Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about the Volkl Revolt 114. This thing's the real deal. There's no messing around here. This thing's pretty darn serious, and it's truly an absolute big mountain weapon. If you want to ski really, really fast through any kind of snow conditions, whether it's powder or really firm frozen stuff or choppy snow or spring snow, you want speed, Revolt 114 is going to work really, really well for you. That said, if you don't want to do those things, it can be a bit of a handful, and it's a little bit counterintuitive if you're familiar with kind of the more park-focused Revolt skis. The 114 has been an outlier since its existence or since its inception. It's a little bit helpful now because we have the Revolt 101 as well, and really the 101 and the 114 share pretty similar characteristics, and we can talk more about that as we talk about this ski. So, as is true with all the Revolt skis, it's a pretty simple build. It's just a multi-layer wood core, fiberglass, epoxy, sandwich construction, vertical sidewall, nothing crazy going on in its construction. What is kind of crazy is just how thick this thing is, and it's really the same exact core thickness that we see in the 101, the new 101, and that's where you're getting your power. So you can control a lot about the performance of a ski just through the thickness of a wood core. If you've ever had a chance to look at raw wood cores, just think about it like a chunk of wood that's like a centimeter thick is going to be pretty stiff. As soon as you take that chunk of wood and make it, say, half a centimeter thick, it's going to be a lot softer. Like you can press right through it in your hand. And this ski is pretty much a centimeter thick, like from one hand to the other hand. And it gives it a really, really strong flex pattern. I will say there's a little bit of extra flex, like right here in the extremity and the tips and tails, but for the most part, it's pretty darn burly and a very strong build. That's reflected in the weight as well. I've got a 184 here. It's a lot of ski. I'm tempted to guess, but let's just put it on there. 2,350 grams. So a lot of ski here. It's not lightweight. It's not going to be quick and snappy and agile. It's going to be strong and stable and like to just charge down the mountain. That said, Volkl does a pretty good job giving a touch of forgiveness into this ski with the shape. So there's a decent amount of tip rocker up here, and then what I think is really important is there's quite long tail rocker. So the tail rocker starts here, and there's not a lot of splay, but enough that you can release that tail and get it to dump some speed, get it to go sideways. And considering how fast the ski wants to go, having that ability to shut it down is pretty nice. It also comes along with a pretty pointy, kind of aggressively tapered tail here. And that, again, is just really important. If they didn't have that, if they made this thing like flat tail and not tapered like that, you would be so incredibly locked into a turn, it would be absolutely terrifying. So I'm glad that they did that. And it's a cool ski. I really enjoy having it at our ski test. Every time people get on it in our ski test, they typically say something along the lines of, it might not be the best ski for a stow skier. And I think that's true. I don't want to completely steer a New England or an Eastern skier away from this thing, but it's kind of overkill because we don't really have big enough open spaces to let it run, and that's really its highlight. So, you know, places for me that come to mind for a ski like this are like Whistler, Mammoth, Jackson Hole, places where you can just ski really, really fast and kind of just let the ski support you, and you're not worried about like having to maneuver through some really, really tight trees, or, you know, you land and then immediately you have to stop, which is kind of how it works here in Vermont in our trees or in our off-piste terrain. So that to me is the best application for this ski. I suppose kind of another interesting use case for it would be for a heavier skier, and that is true for the 101 as well. So if you're just a big guy, if you're a big skier and you need something really stiff and supportive and you want this width for skiing soft snow, I think it could work really well for that too. That's probably going to be less common than the kind of super athletic big mountain charger that wants to just like ski as fast as they can from point A to point B. That to me is its highlight. So pretty cool ski, very unique in the Revolt line, pretty unique in Volkl's collection in general, and cool to have. It's cool to have these supportive big mountain skis for the skiers who are capable of skiing that way. So that's it. Let us know if you have any questions about the Revolt 114 here, and we will see you out there on the slopes.